Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Libra energy, and like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row is going to be high vibe Libra energy, and the bottom row is going to be a more worldly, shadowy energy. We all have a dualistic nature. We all tap into Libra energy about what we think is just and fair. We all have lessons to learn, growing, healing, maturing, and there might come a time where we're ready to move forward in life differently. We've kind of come into some insight or understanding, and we're ready to kind of move forward differently in life. But we can struggle within ourselves and still have inner conflict within ourselves. So we're going to kind of talk about it from that perspective. But at any given moment in time, because it's not a personal reading and I don't know anything about your life, there's going to be some people in the world that are definitely moving forward. They can't live their life the way they've been living it, don't want to live their life that way, feel they can't, and they're going to live life differently. And at any given moment in time, there's other people who aren't ready to move forward in life differently. So the reason for the top row's reading is be brave. And this is like, this looks like a path going into the forest. And, sometimes we have to the forest, can't figure out the forest from the trees. We need to take time maybe alone, in solitude, in nature, to try to differentiate the forest from the trees. We can get so caught up in the world and kind of lump people together. But just because some people could have operated in shadowy energy, they're immature, prideful, egotistical, unjust, unfair, doesn't mean that everyone's like that. Some people are going back out into the world in the trees, because trees can represent our foundation, our family tree. Some people are going out in the world now to take the lessons that they've learned, that I need to listen to my intuition about the people I meet. And when people show me they're not just and fair, they're immature, they're impulsive, they're bossy, they're controlling, they're petty, envious, jealous, whatever, I need to distinguish between these different people in the world. So that could be what some people are doing. So let's go look at the cards in the top row. We start out with two cards not showing themselves, and then we have each day ask this. Not quite exactly sure all what that's a picture of. Kind of looks like some type of fence posting thing going on there. And, over there we have the beach and we have the water and we have the hills. It's lush, it's green. Maybe it's asking, and it kind of looks like, I'm not sure what these are in the picture, but it's lush and green. So maybe it's like, am I in an environment that's lush and abundant and growing and healing and maturing? Am I in that energy within myself? And then we have the Be Free card, which is, again, kind of willing. When we leave one way of living our life, we're probably going to go through a period. This card, the foliage there looks like it's going into autumn, which can be the end of a season where things did seem, maybe as where I am really as lush and abundant as I might have thought it was. And when we think of leaving it, we're going to go through a period of feeling left kind of a little bit out in the cold. We're maybe not going to stay at that job, in that friendship, in that organization, in that romantic relationship. And we're going to kind of go through a period of maybe feeling a little more barren, but then we have what is love. And so some people could be taking some time right now. And this picture's kind of interesting. It looks like someone drew a heart in the sand, but I'm not sure if this would be wet sand underneath or like concrete, We can try. I think people are just going to be trying to figure out what is love and what isn't love. And they're going to take that time maybe alone, because all these cards don't show other people in it. And they're going to maybe take some time to figure out what is love, what isn't love, what is just and fair. Do I deserve love? Am I balanced within myself? Do I love myself? Do I treat myself with love and compassion? Or am I just one of the people in the world that can belittle and criticize me? I think some people are going to take some time alone. Let's go see what these two cards are. Happiness is an imaginary line in the sand, which I believe is the name of the book of that the author made these cards from and wrote this book. I believe the title of it was this, and how to blend the world. So with these cards not showing themselves, it can be that we could have been in relationships with some people. This is like a desert landscape. Some people could think, happiness is like imaginary or love is imaginary. And with this card being a desert landscape, it makes me think of the sun and it being hot. And the sun in tarot, in shadow, can represent the ego nature. We could have been in relationships with people who did operate more from their egoic nature, which can be their defensive nature, maybe a little full of themselves, or bossy, or controlling, or manipulative. And some of those people in our past, and some of you, they wanted you to maybe try to help balance them out. And that can, to a degree, might work out if both people, though, are willing to free themselves from the things that manipulate them. Why do we operate more from our ego? Why are we defensive? Why do we act in immature ways or lazy ways or petty or envious or jealous ways, And if both people are willing to do the work, to work together to blend the worlds, because also the Sun card in tarot can talk about people who might have a lot, shine bright in the world in some way. They could be kind of more victorious and successful in a more worldly, egoic way, and other people are more abundant in a more loving way. And we both might want a little bit more of what the other person brings to the table, but high vibe people want to work with people who then are going to move forward with them to free themselves from the things that manipulate them. We all can put in work and effort to have stability and security and enjoy the finer things in life. But are we willing to get out of our more defensive nature to free ourselves? Because high vibe energy is about being free. Because our shadow nature is represented by the devil, the things that manipulate and control us and imprison us, that keep us from love. And if some people got in some relationships with people like that and the other people weren't willing to make the free will choice, because to be loving is a free will choice, and if some people are like, no, I just kind of wanted to move forward with you, with me being the way I am and you being the way you are, but if someone else is in kind of more shadowy energy, they're defensive to being maybe authentic or warm or loving or just or fair, having learned some lessons in life that some other people have. There's still some lessons they haven't learned to free themselves from the things that manipulate them. And eventually some people who want the justice they deserve, Libra energies represented by the scales of justice, they want to be in just, fair relationships. And if the people they were working with aren't willing to free themselves from their more worldly view of life, their more self-centered view of life, again, whatever it is that kind of manipulates them, then I think some of these people are willing to let these people go out of their life in order to go on this journey of, what is my truth? Because we come into contact with all these different people to try to help us get clear about what our truth is. And we can initially get in a relationship and we think, yeah, I think that could work. I think this is, we both might bring different things to the table. But then as time goes by, both people could really want to be free of the relationship because the other person's like, I don't even know what love is. I don't even get it. And the other person's like, oh my gosh, what's life without love? And they both could want to go find people in the world who are more on the same page as they are. And the loving people were willing to detach from some people that they might have had love for, that they wanted a dream to come into reality with, but they're listening to their intuition, and their intuition is telling them this is limiting, this is restricting, this is confining, this is oppressing. Someone, maybe wants you to keep indulging them in living life the way they like to live life, and they're not willing to walk forward with you in a more just and fair or loving way. So I think the high vibe people were willing to cut those people out of their life, and they're being brave. And what some people don't know about you is that you harness these energies in a high vibe way. And we can all get in relationships and think that other people view life the way we do. The people who are more motivated by the world or ego or an image would think you keep staying in a relationship with them for those reasons. They would maybe stay in a relationship for those reasons, even if they wondered if the person loves them or if they love them, but they're not willing to take maybe a leap of faith, to be brave enough to be on their own. Shadowy energy can be being codependent. And some people are codependent on the world. They're codependent on their defensive nature to make them feel safe. Codependent on their ego to keep them feeling safe. And they're not willing to detach from the things that maybe motivate and inspire them, or their ego, or their defensive nature. And the high vibe people are. And the reason is that they didn't know about you. And for some people, they got in relationships with people, and the people they could have gotten in a relationship with could have been hiding that they do operate more from their worldly, egoic, or defensive nature, or immature nature. And they were just hoping that maybe, once you kind of got in the relationship, whenever we take a job, get in a friendship group, get in a romantic relationship, it can be difficult to leave it because we'd like the things that we've already invested in to work. And some people are counting on that. And secretly, I think they were kind of hoping you'd just stay right here. Let me be like I am. You be like you are. But the high vibe people are being loving and nurturing, and they're tempering their ego. They're not being manipulative and immature and prideful and egotistical and petty and envious and jealous. But the other people might. So it kind of works for them. This is great. I get to be in shadowy energy, and I get to be in a relationship with someone who's very abundant and loving and nurturing and balanced. And shadowy people are kind of tipped out of balance. I'm more about the world. I'm more about myself. I'm more about afraid of being hurt than I'm motivated by love. And so eventually people kind of see what people were hiding, and what they didn't know about you is you harness like high vibe Leo energy, and you are balanced within yourself. You're looking for someone else who's balanced, not someone who's looking to get in a relationship with you to make them feel balanced. We're supposed to take responsibility to love ourselves, to get balanced within ourselves. I need to offset my fears, my insecurities, my self-limiting beliefs, myself. But other people, when we're in more codependent energy, and we've all been there, I think it's just part of the growing and learning process in life. We can look outside of ourselves for the answer, just like people can look to drugs or booze or whatever they look to. Some people, their vice is to get in a relationship. I feel out of balance if I'm not in a relationship. I need to get in a relationship. That makes me feel more balanced. And then they want you to, it kind of makes you responsible for making them feel balanced. And then maybe once they feel more balanced, then they could think, well, now I'm going to take my show on the road. But the whole thing is sometimes they just kind of mimic and copy people and learn their traits and characteristics. And then they think, now I think I can go out on the road like I'm a more loving, balanced person. But it can just be an illusion, but that's sometimes what shadowy people do. If I were to tell people the truth that I'm out of balance, I'm prideful, I'm immature, I'm lazy, I'm egotistical, I'm petty or envious or jealous or competitive, people wouldn't really get in a relationship with them. So they wear a false mask to try to present themselves as being more balanced than they are. And then they might, again, shadowy energy is more motivated by maybe like ego and image, and some of them are social climbers. It's like, I'm going to get in a relationship with you so that I look like I'm a more stable, balanced, abundant, loving person than I am. And then when I have seemed to have established that persona, then I'm going to go take it on the road, because what's love anyway? Aren't I just going to have sex with someone? Who's got money? Who's got status? Who's got image? Who's got power? Who's going to indulge me? I want more. you know? And for some people, it never was about love. It was good for their ego and their image. It made them feel more balanced. And some high vibe people realized the truth of it, and they could have separated from those people. And some people are just doing that now. So let's go look at the bottom row. The reason for their reading is create it. So let's go look. We have 3 cards that are showing themselves. Dig deeper. How to navigate an inversion. And splintered oneness. So love is what helps unify us. Otherwise, we're kind of in scattered energy. It's kind of like we're battling within ourself. We have our emotional nature, our worldly nature, our passionate nature, our living from our mind nature. And sometimes one aspect of ourself can be in charge of our life at any given moment, like, oh my gosh, I love them. And the rest of our life kind of ends up in the toilet because, oh my gosh, I love them. And it's part of the process of life that we kind of go to the extremes in learning these lessons in life. And part of it is to let us know that we have this capability within ourselves to go to extremes and kind of not respect and value certain aspects of ourselves. It's kind of like we are body, mind, soul, spiritual, creative, inspired people, and we're very emotionally complex people. Some people ignore their emotions. Like, nope, I'm just going to live more from my mind than my heart. And that would be splintered oneness. And maybe, I really don't know what an inversion is. I think it's kind of something, kind of when things kind of get tipped upside down in a way. And what do we do when things don't work out in our life? Sometimes it was calling us to dig deeper. And this, again, looks like wood, so it could be within our foundation of self to learn how to deal with when our life kind of gets tipped upside down and unexpected things happen in our life. Are we going to let one aspect of ourself kind of... And there might be times when we have to do that because maybe we are kind of so chaotic within ourselves. It's like, I've got to be practical and logical. I don't even trust myself, emotionally or whatever. I'm going to focus on work. That is the focus, And we could go through a period of time like that, just like we have to learn these lessons. Sometimes we got to work with what we got. Got to turn lemons into lemonade, And everybody's at different places in life. Everybody's learned different lessons than other people. Some people maybe aren't very unified within themselves yet. And it's just, everybody's learned different lessons at different points in time in their life. Some people learned how to play nicely with others more so than other people. Some people didn't learn to quit being kind of bossy or controlling or thinking it should be all about themselves, or that they should be able to try to manipulate people to get them to do what they want, or they should be able to be lazy. Other people have learned those lessons more than other people have. So being kind of in our shadow nature, we have lessons to learn. Hopefully, we work with what we've got to make the best of it because it's part of life. But if we get in relationships with some other people where they kind of have learned some more of those lessons than we have, or did dig deeper than we might have dug to love ourselves or believe in ourselves and encourage ourselves. At any given moment, some of those people might not want to keep us in a job or in a friendship or in a romantic relationship. And it can take doing this work behind the scenes. High vibe Leo energy is how I'm viewing this, to love and believe in ourselves and to get more balanced within ourselves. And hopefully, because we have this dualistic nature, hopefully if we ever do feel like this within ourselves, behind the scenes, hopefully we're doing this work within ourselves to love and believe in ourselves. But we could go through a period of time where we're kind of shut down emotionally, because this is a snowman and water in tarot represents our feelings. And there might be a period of time that we have to recover from something. And we need to take time to heal. Also, because this is cold, it kind of makes me think of air sign energy represented by the swords. And there might be times where, we do have to feel like we have to be more protective and defensive of ourselves because we haven't gotten more balance within ourselves. And we could be more susceptible to people manipulating us, so we do this work within ourselves. And there could be some people that that maybe you're not in a relationship with anymore. Maybe that's where they're at. So we wish people peace because we need more healed people in the world. And then there could be some people, though, that just decide, I'm okay where I'm at, and I'm just going to live my life like this. And it can be living more from their mind, maybe being more emotionally shallow and superficial. And they're like, I'm good. And they don't have a desire to go within to figure out, maybe why do I seem this day to be loving and that day to be cold? Why this day am I bossy and that day I'm not bossy? Because it's scattered energy. It's kind of whichever aspect of themselves, kind of with the arguing maybe in their own head, which is the right one to be today. And we've got the 12 zodiac signs, 24 of them, upside down or right side up. And they're kind of could be really chaotic and unpredictable. And that's also maybe why some people don't want to deal with them or us when we were in that energy. So then we had these cards come out that aren't showing themselves. Lessons from my son, walking lessons, the heart of you, and start over. We've all gone through difficult times in our life where maybe something where we thought we were going to have a new beginning, because the sun can represent that, where we thought people were going to work together with us cooperatively. Those people maybe didn't. And then, we could feel disconnected from the people that we thought we were going to grow something with, right? And we can feel left out in the cold. Well, we can all experience that. And I think what some people, and again, we can all get in relationships with people because we have similar wounding. We could have both, went through something where we're not, maybe hadn't learned how to love and believe in ourselves yet. And that can take a lot of work and effort. I think it's the hardest lesson to learn, is to learn to love yourself. I have to learn to be my own best mother, father, coach voice in my head. I need to be a life-giving energy of the sun. I need to offer myself love and compassion and forgiveness to heal. But we could have gotten in relationships with people, and we've all got lessons to learn at different phases of our life. And we could have gotten in some relationships with some people where we were both kind of in that energy. But the difference, again, could have been the high vibe people still had hope and faith and belief in their dreams, where the other people weren't maybe revealing the fact that they don't plan to do that work within themselves. And they could look to people that they get in relationships with to provide that for them. So they're maybe in more codependent energy than the other people. And then they harness these energies different. If the other person is more shadowy and they prefer to always live more from their mind and their heart and always kind of not maybe connect so much in with their emotions because they're complex and they just decided, I don't really want to do it. I'll use them when I need them, but I don't want to deal with it. It's too confusing. And so then the more people that have hope and faith and belief harness these energies in a high vibe way. This could be kind of lessons that we've learned. The masculine figures can represent our more worldly nature, our more egoic nature, because the feminine figures in tarot can represent how we think and feel. They've learned lessons from people they've been in relationships and life that they've lived. And it's all part of walking this path in life. When we're little kids, we need to learn how to crawl and then kind of hold on to things to get our balance. And then we start to walk, and then we start to run, and then we start to skip and jump, and we want to go out and play, and we want to ride bikes. We're motivated and inspired to do it all, to overcome our fears, not let anything hold us back. Luckily, little children have that motivation within them, because we'd hate to have little children who one day we hear in the news are unwilling to get up and walk. All little children have given up. They no longer have the drive and motivation. When we're young, we kind of have that hopeful, believing spirit. And the high vibe people still have that hopeful, believing spirit, even when they go through difficult times. And they realize it's a part of life. And there was lessons to be learned. Oh, those people were unkind. Next time I meet some people who seem to be unkind, I'm going to distance myself from them. Oh, those people seem bossy and controlling. I don't want to be around bossy, controlling people. And they keep letting their heart guide them forward to start over, to look at life from a higher perspective, to keep having hope and faith and belief in their dreams. And while they're going through difficult times, they try to find the simple pleasures in life to enjoy. What things am I grateful for in my life? Who in my life am I grateful for? I'm grateful the people at the coffee shop were friendly today. I don't need one more person in my life being crabby, it's finding the good things in life. But then they could get in a relationship with someone and you think you're on the same page, and you think the high vibe people think eventually we'll work through this. We'll both kind of get out of our ego about what did happen that maybe could have burned us. And we will get more balanced within ourselves, and we'll go on this journey of love and be brave. But sometimes you get in relationships with people who they're like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I was hurt. I want to stay here. I want to do life like this. You stay hurt with me. You keep being in your fear and your insecurity and your codependency. Don't heal. Don't love and believe in yourself because I gave up on my dreams. And so they're harnessing this energy in a more shadowy way. And people don't realize that when they get in a relationship with them. And let's see. Again, it could be being more codependent. We've all been children before, where we've been in families where we look to other people to provide for us, to care for us, to nurture us. And some people, that's how they view life. I'm still like a codependent child. I don't do this work within myself to free myself from the things that manipulate me, or my past pain and heartbreak, or my fears or my insecurities. I'm like looking for someone to play that role in my life. The only problem is sometimes, it can be kind of like, you're their drug of choice. You're supposed to make me feel better. You're supposed to make me feel more confident. You're supposed to make me feel more confident, secure, and balanced within myself. But the thing is, children eventually have a desire to leave home to be free. And if they were more codependent on other people, they could, when they feel more stable within themselves, well, then they kind of wonder maybe if they even love you, because they could have gotten in a relationship with you when they were more codependent. And then sometimes if some of their issues bubble back up again, then they can blame the person they got in a relationship with. Well, you're not the person then. If I was to get in a relationship with you, I was supposed to feel confident. I was supposed to feel secure. I was to be more balanced, but my issues are bubbling up. I'm not feeling stable and grounded. I'm starting to maybe repeat some poor past patterns of the past that aren't conducive to a loving relationship. And then they blame the person they're in a relationship with instead of doing this work within themselves, because they didn't take responsibility kind of in a way from the beginning. I got in a relationship with you to make me feel better. Well, if I start to not feel better, then it's your fault. And it's like, and they'll could keep repeating that pattern until eventually, if they ever see the truth, oh, I make other people responsible for maybe me looking like I moved on, making it look like I'm more enlightened than I am, more victorious and successful than I am. And again, sometimes in a way, it's like social climbing. I'm just getting in a relationship to make it look like I've grown, I've healed, I've matured, I'm moving forward in life. And then it's to go, shadowy energy can kind of be impatient. Our ego, I want what I want when I want it. And if it starts to feel like maybe even people go through a difficult time where maybe things do get a little more out of balance, or they don't seem to be being as indulged in their ego, well, that can throw them out of balance, because shadowy energy is kind of operating from your ego, and some of them are kind of wanting to be indulged in their ego. And if they could start to feel that other people are wanting a more balanced relationship where they have to kind of deal with some of their inner issues of, well, Libra represented by the scales of justice, shadowy energy kind of wants the scales of justice tipped in their favor. Well, initially, we can all kind of have our issues. We extend people some grace, as we're in this process. But then eventually the other people, it's like, well, I'm ready for this to kind of go to the next level of a relationship. And everybody has to do this work within themselves to start taking responsibility within themselves of getting themselves more balanced, I don't want to keep indulging you maybe in your fear or your insecurity or your pride or your ego or your immature, indulgent, or competitive ways. And we all got to be brave. And that can be when the other people are like, no. and shadowy energy can be people where they're trying to use, instead of being in high vibe energy, where they're truthful and honest and loving and just and fair and hopeful and believing, it can try to manipulate people to get them to do what they want. And so they could purposely do things to cause upset in a relationship, trying to kind of destabilize the person they're in a relationship with, maybe doing things that are unloving, unkind, cold, maybe going and playing with other people. And they could be hoping that that will disrupt someone enough that they'll quit believing in themselves, quit being balanced, and they'll come back and kind of do the relationship the way they want it to be done. And some people could be doing that in a relationship right now. And, instead of the people kind of learning lessons from past life experience, that if I want to move forward with these people, maybe I should start walking the talk and connecting in with my emotions and my intuition and having some hope and faith and belief. But maybe they haven't learned those lessons yet. And maybe they have a pattern of, I could do that, but I've done this before and it's worked. I'm going to be cold. I'm going to be detached. I'm going to be bossy, controlling. I'm going to try to destabilize them so they don't love and believe in themselves, so they get in their fear, get in their insecurity. I could do this, but I reject that. And it could be just because they're immature. They got a lot of life lessons to learn. They could think, that they're the shining star in a way, and everybody should want to fight and compete to be in a relationship with them. And if you love and believe in yourself and you're not kind of making it all about indulging them, then they want to go find someone else who does. So, whatever the case is, I think some high vibe people have been in those type of relationships. Some people are getting out of those relationships. And now, for the people, again, when we're in relationships, we have free will. We can choose to be open and honest and just and fair, treat other people the way we like to be treated, or we can say, in my ego, I think I have a better idea. I'm going to do this instead, which isn't just and fair and loving. And that's when some loving people who were in that hopeful, believing spirit that were willing to walk forward with them, were willing to work with them to where they both could have transformed their life, they weren't willing to do it. And the other people were ready to do that. And we can all keep indulging people in poor behavior for a while, and because we don't want to leave, because we don't, maybe I'll just keep staying here. I'll keep making lemonade out of lemons. But eventually it gets old, and it is starting to wear away at our confidence. And it is starting to, why am I not in relationships with people who are just and fair, who are loving, who are kind, who are encouraging and supportive? Why do I stay in relationships with people who seem to kind of want to almost turn my life upside down? That's not love. Loving people want you to become all you can be. But if you're in a relationship with someone who's kind of shadowy and they don't plan to do that or grow or heal or mature themselves, they don't want you to either. Because then they can't move forward with you, because the truth sets us free. And they'd have to try to fake maybe another level of being more healed, more grown, more mature than they are. It'd be like someone getting a job maybe for being an accountant when they don't have an accounting degree. It's like, oh my gosh, I was able to fake it maybe as a bookkeeper, but how am I going to fake it as an accountant and maybe supposed to know more things than I know, And so that's when they might want to stay in a relationship with you because you're loving or nurturing or warm or help them maintain balance or look victorious and successful in their life or in their ego. But they're not willing to do this work. They reject being in life-giving energy and getting more balanced. And part of it can be, I just don't even believe there is anything else. I think it's about the world, or I really think it's just about me. Very egocentric, very maybe narcissistic. Isn't life all about me? I thought life was all about me, and they are just very out of balance, or they think life is only about the world. Doesn't everybody get in relationships with people just to try to create this illusion how stable and successful and loving and nurturing they are, but it's all an illusion, And that might be how they view life, but it's not how everybody views life. And the other people decided, I've been authentic and truthful with you. And if you're not willing to detach, because, a butterfly used to be like an earthworm, and then the earthworm goes into the cocoon and metamorphosizes. And, it's probably a really gooey, painful process because they detach from a whole different way of living life and crawling around viewing life from a very worldly view. And then they come out and they can soar up in the air and they see life from a completely different perspective. And that's the thing. We have our worldly nature, but we have the opportunity to become more enlightened, to heal and grow and become all we can be. But we have to shed the old layer of ourself, kind of like being reborn as a new creature. And some people just completely reject that. I don't view life that way. I live more from my mind than my heart. So that's our free will. People realize my dream can't come into reality with you living your life that way. So I wish you peace, but I'm moving on. So let's see what's coming up. The high vibe people are being brave. And I would say the shadowy people are trying to create an illusion that everything's wonderful in their life. But they're not doing the work to heal and grow and mature themselves. They're not doing the inner work to free themselves from the things that manipulate them. Trying to create the illusion that they have, maybe, but, it's just... Okay, what's coming up for the high vibe people that they might not see coming up? We have the Knight of Wands. And the reason is because of the Ten of Swords and the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is Leo energy, which is kind of how I was interpreting this card here. The high vibe people, the Knight of Wands is Sagittarius energy, which is about life's an adventure to be lived. Life's about learning lessons in life. And when I've learned the lesson I was meant to learn, the tens can mean the completion of a cycle, and we let go, we've completed the cycle, and we come out with the one sword to start a new cycle. Just like we did from age 15 to age 18 to age 21 to age 25. I've wrapped up a cycle. I'm done living my life like that. I'm ready to face my fears and insecurities, getting out of my ego. I am ready to move forward. I have seen life differently. I've expanded my perception of myself and how I view the world, and I believe I can move forward to the next level of life. They got out of their ego. They got out of their fears, got out of their insecurity. They put an end to shadowy Leo energy. And when they were inspired to do that, there might have been some other people in their life who could have backstabbed and betrayed them because they weren't the same person that they were before. I wanted you to keep living your life like this. Well, shadowy energy can be like dead energy. There's nothing new to learn there. How long are we going to stay 15? Till we're 30? At what time are we going to go? It's the same kind of analogy. We do it throughout our life. And some people were unwilling to get out of their ego or their inner conflict about being willing to be more bold and brave, to step out of their comfort zone, to face their fears, to wrap their brain around this game of life, that there's a time to stop, defending something that's really over. They're like, people can keep repeating a pattern, thinking, maybe even being prideful and egotistical or immature or bossy or controlling, because it could have worked at a certain time in their life, and maybe even with their parents, and they're going to keep trying to do it with people they're in relationships with. At what time do you realize that isn't going to get you what you want, and you probably get left out in the cold? And they might not realize they created it. And sometimes some people create it because they are in shadowy energy. I don't want to do love. I get hurt doing love. Oh my gosh, I'm in relationships with people who are kind of learning to love and believe in themselves, and they want me to do that too. No, I get hurt doing that, and I want to be more like an immature player and just keep indulging myself. I don't want to see the truth that I'm supposed to heal and grow and mature myself. I want to keep repeating this old pattern over and over. But they've already been there and done that. There's nothing new to learn there, but they refuse to put an end to it. So the high vibe people that were in their life decided to put an end to moving forward with them. I am inspired to be brave. I am ready for the next phase of life. There's more lessons to be learned. I've learned what I've needed to learn here. I'm ready to move on. The high vibe people could have communicated to some people in their world, that I've learned lessons in life. I've got more balance within myself. I've want to be free of an old way of living life? Do you want to detach from your more worldly or egoic ways of living to be brave with me? And If some of those people aren't, okay, I'm not going to get my ego about it. Peace. Hope it works out for you, but I'm moving on. And right now, some people who might have communicated to some people might realize that some people aren't coming with. They would have wished they would have, and other people will come with. And people that you meet moving forward, I think I kind of view the wands as kind of listening to your intuition. I think you're just going to listen to your intuition as you move forward in life. You've learned these lessons, you've dealt with different people in the world that have different traits and characteristics. And sometimes if you're a very loving, nurturing person, you think, oh, everybody be inspired by love. Everybody, wants to put in work and effort. And then you realize that's not true. And that was a lesson we needed to learn. Not to be so naive, not to be so gullible. And who I'm going to go out there and even though maybe with the cold weather there that maybe it's not everything I wished it would have been, and maybe the world can seem like a cold place, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to use my intuition to decipher amongst all these different people what foundation they operate from, who chooses to be free of their more defensive, egoic, immature nature, who's been enlightened to the truth and who hasn't, who's open to giving and receiving love, who treats other people the way they like to be treated, who's loving and encouraging, who's prideful and egotistical. And I think that's part of the lesson that we learn in life too, is probably when we were young, we didn't really, we kind of ignored our intuition. Because there could have been times where our intuition was like, I don't think we should do this. I don't think this is a good idea. I think we went out with someone like this before. But we did it anyway. And it was to learn that when we make decisions, maybe because we hadn't learned to love ourselves, maybe we felt a little out in the cold and we thought, oh, I can work with this person. I'm sure I can get them to choose love. Everybody has free will. Everybody has their philosophy of life that they operate from. And just because you're a loving, nurturing person, just like God is a loving, nurturing person, not everybody chooses to align with truth and love, And some people are like, yeah, but I'll be in a relationship with you because you are loving and nurturing. But yeah, I'm not doing that. So, if you want to keep staying with me in a relationship, I might be not making the best decisions in this relationship. But I guess if you aren't willing to be brave enough to leave to go get your divine inheritance, then I guess you're going to put an end to being brave because Leo energy is about being brave. And I guess you're going to repeat an old pattern. And I think even though you could communicate with people in your life that you're moving forward, I think you're also communicating, I don't want to repeat this past pattern. If there's people, if you're prideful, if you're egotistical, if you think it should be all about you, if you think you should be able to be petty and immature, whatever, bossy, controlling, no. I wish you peace. I'm moving on. What's coming up for the people who might harness a more worldly or shadowy? Before we go to that, we live in a world of duality. Shadowy energy, kind of like represented by the devil, is always trying to stop new things from being born or to stop what God is trying to manifest or what loving people are trying to manifest. So you will encounter immature players in your life who kind of want to be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you because you might be free of something that you had been in. And they might be hoping you feel a little bit out in the cold, and they might be brave to say they want to come be the next person. And they could have even ended something that looked victorious to come get in a relationship with you, but it could be more out of pride and ego. And so I just think, listen to your intuition. Because we live in a world of duality, you have free will, you have to be given choice. So decipher between who seems to be authentic and mature and things like that, and who seems to kind of still be an immature player. Okay, what's coming up for the people who harness a more worldly or shadowy Libra energy that they might not see coming up? The Ace of Pentacles in reverse, the Knight of Cups in reverse, and the Four of Cups in reverse because of the truth, the Ace of Swords. Like I say, sometimes shadowy people are hoping to disrupt other people's foundation by doing things that can be hurtful and unkind in order to get those people to quit loving and believing in themselves to come back and do the relationship the way they want it. And some of those people could be surprised that the other people saw through the illusion, the manipulation, the deception, unloving ways of being. And those people aren't making them an offer to have a new beginning, aren't offering them a cup of love. And those people no longer probably even feel like they missed out on an emotional opportunity because they saw the truth of these people. That these people don't invest in love and taking that cup of love to invest in truth and love and justice and fairness and balance. So the other people are no longer going to invest in them. And for some of those people, that could be a shock. For the people that are still in it, you can have people, again, who put a lot of work and effort into making a relationship work because they would like it to work. And when people have acted in these kind of hurtful, immature ways, bossy, controlling, prideful, egotistical ways, trying to push people's buttons, it's worked. For some people, it's the last time. And they didn't know that the people they were in a relationship behind the scenes in high vibe energy were doing this work within themselves to love and believe in themselves, to get more balance within themselves. And to believe that I am brave enough to leave. If this person acts bossy or controlling or manipulative or prideful or egotistical one more time, I'm out of here. And I'm going to be free of them because this isn't love. Loving people are loving. People who are motivated to be just and fair are just and fair. People who pride themselves in acting with character and integrity act with character and integrity. And the people who don't. They got some lessons to learn in life. And it could be a shock for some people. And some people might communicate the truth. And they might tell them, I have been trying to work with you. You kind of sabotage this relationship. Maybe some people are seeing the truth, that I also created this. I got into this situation maybe because I didn't love and believe in myself. And I hadn't healed. Well, I see things differently. The truth has set me free. I'm going to go live my life differently. I've healed. I've grown. I've matured. I've expanded my perception of myself and the world around me and what I believe is possible. And I see the truth. It's supposed to be about love. Another thing they might not see coming is there might be someone who does want to be in a relationship with them. It might make practical, logical sense. And that person also doesn't want to learn lessons in life. Also really isn't big on love or aligning with their more loving, intuitive nature. We should get in a relationship because this makes practical, logical sense. Both of us could have maybe had something that happened that kind of turned our life upside down. And neither one of us want to be in relationships with people who want us to heal and get out of our ego about it. And basically, we haven't learned the lessons we were meant to learn from it. And so they want to repeat an old pattern because we'll keep repeating a pattern over and over and over until we finally see the truth. Oh my gosh. And it's like ding, 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 ding. You are free to go to the next level of the game of life. And some people are more, pride comes before the fall. Some people are more stubborn and prideful. Shadowy energy can be wanting to stay in denial of the truth. Am I immature? Am I out of balance? Do I think the scales of justice should be tipped in my favor? Do I think it's just and fair to be manipulative or immature or bossy or controlling or treat my partner like they're the competition I need to destroy? Until they see the truth of it, they're going to keep doing life exactly the way they've been doing it. Another thing, some of them might not, if they've gotten in new relationships, some of the people that they thought were going to have a new beginning with them might see the truth that these people haven't healed and they haven't learned to love themselves, and they might have been trying to create the illusion that they'd healed and ready to move on, and they've grown and matured, that they could have repeated some poor past patterns or it was everybody else's fault, but they really haven't. And some other people that they get in a relationship, that's the problem with us people getting older. Some people want to keep like, oh, can't we do relationships like when we're 21 to 25? Aren't you game for that? Do you remember and how things were? And I can be like this and you can be like that. And people are like, I'm like 35 or 50 now. And yeah, those might have been things that I kind of put up with back then, but I've had some life experience and I have no interest in living my early 20s over again where I put up with like bullshit, If you're immature and impulsive, yeah, no thanks. If you're kind of prideful and egotistical, no, been there, done that. Have you grown up and matured yourself? Do you know how to give and receive love? If not, I think I'll wish you peace and I think I'll move on. So, there you go, Libra energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.